Hi viewer, welcome to our YouTube channel. I am Haris Khan. Today we are going to learn CRUD API integration in React.js using Axios library. So let's get started. As you can see on your screen, I have a basic form of CRUD operation. Like we have four fields here: user ID, title, and body, and a button submit. And the data which will be submitted should need to be shown below. For example, I need to submit. Let me just fill out this with the random data. So title body. If I submit this URC, you can see the result below here as are rendered in the table. This is just a bootstrap simple form. I can also edit this as you can see, and on click on submit it get edit. Let me do it again. For example, change this ID, click on submit. I can also delete this. So these CRUD operations are now handled using simple state in React.js, but we have to put APIs behind it, and for getting data from server and posting data on server, we will use Axios library. Maybe you are familiar and you have used the fetch, which is a built-in in React.js, while Axios is an npm package we use in React.js. So let's get started. First, let me summarize the code I did for this simple form that you have a basic idea of it. Look, this is a simple project. In the app.js file, I have called a component with the name CRUD, and this is inside the pages, that is CRUD.js, and there is nothing here. Few states and the form, like you can see, we have HTML form. I use Bootstrap CDN, Bootstrap CDN, not React package, npm package. So these CDNs I include of the Bootstrap. Come to the CRUD.js. So this is the text I have brought here. You can see I have written here. Let's learn CRUD API integration in React.js using Axios. So this is the text. After that, we have a form inside with dev. We have a user ID. I just go through this because you are familiar with this, but must have a little idea of it because we are doing using this form to integrate the CRUD operation. So that's why let me summarize it. So ID field, title field, simple on change title. You are familiar with all these stuffs because it's a core components, I mean a fundamental of for React. So this is our submit button, and below this we have a table, bootstrap table, in which I have mapped the data. So let me explain first here. Let's, if I click on the submit, so which function get called? Look here, we have a handle submit function which get called. What's inside this? It's check, it's prevent if there is empty fields. So if the user ID and title and body, if we got all these three fields, then we do what? Then we click, then we set our state with the form data. And what is form data? So look, form data is the initial data. As you can see, the initial data of our what? Of our form, which is empty initially, user ID, title, and body. So look, in the handle submit, which is called on submit button, we do what? We send, we first extract the set data, mean the form data. We will use form data for initial data, and data in set data for new data. For example, I clicked on submit button, so the data which is inside the form should need to go to the set data, and which I have mapped here. Let me show you first the set data state. As you can see here, data and set data. So uh, when I fill the form, so the set, through set data, the data which already inside this gets spread, and the new form data get concatenate with this data. And set data, through set data, our data state get updated, and we render this data here like data.map, inside which we have a user ID, title, body, and then edit. For edit and deleting purpose, we are sending indexes here because it's we are controlling through state. That's why we are sending index. For the real APIs integration, we will use ID for the edit and deleting purpose you are familiar with. So if we click on delete, let me come to the handle submit function. As you let's here. So set data, get updated the set data, and set form data again initialized to the empty data. So now come to here, come down after we have a here edit handle edit function. So look, if we click on the handle edit function, it call a function which get the data of that particular index we are sending to the handle edit function and send it to the initial state which we are used for the data displaying form, that is set form data, which are initialized by the initial data. So here we initialize using the specific index data because to populate the field with the edit data. That's why we are doing this. So uh, and for the deleting purpose, handle delete function is get called. We are filter that particular index record and send the remaining to set data, because set data are maps those data uh, and nothing else there is. Just we have console log the data inside the use effect. Whenever data gets changed, use effect will mean component will update, and that particular console log with updated data get displayed on console. So this is the basic form. Let's start the API integration. We will use here a fake API for this purpose to do the CRUD operation, that is JSON placeholder, which is the fake APIs. Yeah, free fake APIs. Here we have a multiple options. We will use post one to get post, to post to edit post, to delete post. So we have a basic URL, that is JSON placeholder dot typecode.com. So look here, if we click on the get, we can get all the post through JSON placeholder dot typecode.com slash posts. So this is the data from slash posts, and if we want to a particular post, we will pass ID after that of that particular post. So let's get started this integration using Axios library. You are familiar that it's a promise-based HTTP client for the web browsers and Node.js. So its main purpose is what you are familiar, that make XML HTTP request from the browser, make HTTP request from Node.js and all APIs, React.js, etc. So let's get started using this. As you know, we first start from the post request. To click on the submit, and our data should need to go to the slash post API of the place of the JSON placeholder. So look, for this purpose, first we have to install Axios, which I already installed. For that, you need to type a command yarn add Axios or npm start Axios. So after the successful installation of this package, you can import it, like I import Axios from Axios. So now I am using it to post data. For example, here is I have a function handle submit, and inside the form data I have the data object I am sending, including user ID, ID, title, and body. So look, I do what here, I need to put Axios here, like Axios dot post request. It will be post request. Axios dot post take two arguments. The one is the URL to which we will be posting the data, and in a second parameter it takes the object we are want to send. In our case, the object is form data. Which data? Form data. Because the, let's come here, I am filling this form, so this data is getting into the form data when I click on the submit. So when I have user ID, ID, title, and body, all these fields are not empty, so this function will come. And what? Axios.post. So it's take two argument. The one is URL and the second is form. So now we have a then in cage. If it gets success, the then will be called, and if it get error, it will come. It will cage in the cage block. So let's then in the then I will get the response like that. Response dot, let me console log the response here first, that we can see what we are getting in response. So let me write here with the response. and here response.data. So if I get any error, I will know about the error because I have to catch this error inside the catch block. So I console log error. So Control S and come to the browser. Yeah, let me refresh the page. After refresh, let me fill this field. The ID should be 22, for instance. This ID will be, and title will be title, and body will be like it's a body. So look, when I clicked on submit, so what's happened? Yes, response, we get response. It means we called API successfully and we got the response. You can see here what we sent to it has been returned to us. So there is a little difference in the ID come change because it's auto generated ID to the placeholder. Let me click here on, we have 100 record. So the record we are inserting is which one is ID 10001. So the next record, so that ID get updated. So in our case we no need to send this ID because it's, if we send it will be rejected because it create their own ID with the ID. So the rest of data are our data, it's not the big deal. We can also know about our response in the console and also in the network section. As you can see here, we have a post API called, this is the header, the API to which we called. Look, this is the API JSON placeholder dot typecode.com/post. Its status is 204. The payload we send can also be shown here. As you can see, payload, we are sending payload, as you know we are send 234 ID, but it get 101 because it's override this ID because they generated by their self the ID which are coded inside the JSON placeholder server, which is a fake server. Don't worry about this, not that big deal. And come to the response, here we got this is in the response which also we saw in the console. So the better option is to look the API response and API calls that it get failed or successed inside the network section, but you can also use console.log for it being new to the API integration. So you can also use console log. So successfully we did the post. Now we do what? We will do get API. So to get all the data and display it here, we will use what? You know that in the React.js, in the functional component, we do side effect inside the use effect hook, So here I did what? We console log the data. So let me call whenever the data change, so data will be come from API. So look, we will call which API? Get API. This, yeah, this API with the method get. So look. Look here, I will write axios.get and I have the URL. It just take a one parameter here because we are not sending anything else. We just get these posts, all the posts present inside the post collection mean table. So look here also I will then let me in the next line that it should be clear. So look, error, sorry, response and console log. First we will console, then we will display the real data. So all data, let me write here. This is the text I write here will be there, response.data, and then I have to catch if I have any error, so that particular error will get displayed on the console screen. So look, error. Yeah, let me control S, come to the browser, our React app, and yes, the data has been, all data displayed here on console. I have to render this data here. So very simple, I have a state, uh, this state, as you know. Here we can also not update this thing from data, which is the initial data. We can also write here as a professional way to write response.data here. So the response.data will get concatenate with the splitted data of the data. Set state, you are familiar with this term, hope so. It's not defined here because we have to do it like this, sorry for that. let me remove this console. We don't need further this. So inside then we will do this, and also will empty our initial state. So this is what our post done with this. So let's back to our get request. So the set data is our main thing. So we will do what after getting the successful response. Let me do same for this as well, but I do not need to do the work of spread operation. I just will write all the data with this. So response data, that all data get displayed here. So I control S and data has been displayed. You can see hundred of data displayed. We can also concatenate this data again and again by writing like this syntax here to spread the data which is inside present. It means that the present data will not be lost and the new data will get concatenate, and then the state will be updated. So with this we concluded with a get request, which is very easy. We get the response and handle the response according to our need. Like in the set data I handle it. So now it's turn to edit. So look, the edits are performed here using which you know using. So for the edit purpose we can also call an API. Let me change this to the index here, to the ID. So I will send this ID. It will edit based on this ID. So look, I will send this ID and edit will receive what? Will receive ID. So I will first fetch the data. For the fetching data, I can simply use a get API like this. Let me control C this and let me write all these data. So here, this index will be edit ID, for instance, I am sending. So here I will post slash I have to pass dynamic edit ID. So for that I can also use plus and then the ID, but the better way is to use a modern way, a backtick. I prefer this. So you should use this backtick, which is present above the tag in above the tab on your keyboard and below the escape button. You can use this with a directly. You can use backtick. So post slash I have to put ID. So dollar sign in curly brackets inside I can paste edit ID. So it will get me the result, and that response I want to dispatch to the set form data, which is our initial data, So I want to my initial data need populate. I want my initial data to be populated with the data I'm getting. So look, let me remove this. Control S. Yeah, Control S to handle it. Let's check it directly without console. If I click on edit, yeah, it's come here. 111. Let me click on the 2. So yeah, it's getting update. Awesome, very awesome. So this is what we just get the data for the editing purpose. Now we will post this data. So we have no function for the post data. So that will be exactly same like, for example, we need a button here, like submit. We will have a button. We will have a button with the update with update, and there will be a function call. On click we will call a function. So the function name will be handle update, for instance. Yes, I didn't define this yet. Let me define in a while. So look here, inside a handle submit, let me copy paste the handle post and change this to the handle update. Let me remove all these things, prevent default etc. I can put this condition that will be like that. It doesn't matter, but I will do what here. I will change the method to put, and all these things will be same like this, but here I need to pass the ID exactly like what I did in getting data like this. So let me copy this because we are posting, we are updating that particular record against that particular id. Yeah, why it's showing error? Because the id is not defined. This id need to be sent as well. So this is actually the mm, let's, for that purpose, we can store our id as a global id as well. For example, we didn't control it first, so let me do a trick here. You can play with this. It might not be a good approach at the moment, but you can play with it by yourself as well. So whenever I sending id, I will set a edit id inside a state that will be item dot id. So I'm defining this state constant state. Initially, okay, it will be edit id, but this is edit id state, not the edit id I passed over there. uh, for example, now we have a global access of this id, so I can use this inside here. I don't need to use it because it will fetch this from that state. So now here I can change its name, that uh, edit id state, for instance, to make it change from that another one. The both have a same value, but this is what we have passed from to handle edit function, and this is fetching from the state, which also updated along with this, like here, you know. So now we have that this state edit id. Now we can do what here in the handle update method. In if we click on the update function, here update function button, so this API will get called with the put method and will update the record which is present inside the form data, and will concatenate the result with this. Or we can say simply we can do nothing, but we will empty the states or initial form data, and we'll do what, as we will set form data with response, or we can we can indicate here a change or set refresh, for example, set refresh or reload, for example refresh plus one, because to know the look, we can do one thing more. uh, I leave it here like this, state the initially state to empty, and click on submit. So I want that the updated data get rendered. So inside use effect I will pass form.data as well. Whenever form.data get changed, their value null or undefined, so that particular get post will get called use effect, mean all data will be displayed. So as you can see here, we have an update button now. If I click on this edit, as you know, data has been loaded here, and I want to edit this. Before I want to write 2, I write 2, and I click on the update. So my data has been updated, but it will not be displayed here because the new data has been rendered due to the use effect dependency array. I can console log my data or see it in the network. Okay, it's continuously calling because data is changing and state is get rendering. I have to remove the data from here, and as well as a form data, because it will change frequently. So for that purpose, I need to define here another state uh, when the value of that state get changed. So our data will be refreshed. For example, refresh uh, set refresh will be a state with the initial value true or false. We can also use, but let me use here a 0 to increment or decrement its value. Refresh. I will pass refresh to the dependency array here. Whenever we need to refresh the data, we will we will change the set state data. So when the record get updated and I want the new record to come, so I will call this state with a refresh plus one, so it will get changed. Yeah, let me control S, come over the browser. control the execution. Yes, execution has been controlled. Now look, if I click on the edit number record 1 and I want to put 2 behind it, before it, and click on the update, as you know here, yeah, as you can see here, the response, in response we get that it's updated. As you can see, 2 is put here before it, and if I come inside the payload which we have sent, exactly same, and the headers, you know, this is the API, this is the post method. Sorry, I think the method is not changed here. It should not be post method. Which method? Update, it should be update method. Why it's wrong here? I think I click on the, okay, sorry, this one, above one, this is, look, http placeholder /1 against the that particular id which is 1, and this is a method put 200 success record, success code. We are sending this data, as you can see, 2 behind it, and in the response we are getting exactly that updated data. So it's mean we did with the updating as well. So hope you got this. How can we update data? For the update, first we fetch the data based on the specific ID, and then we update the data based on specific ID. So for getting we use get, and for posting that update data we use a put method. So we are done with this. In this case, our data get refreshed and that rendered, but the updated data is not displayed here because it's a big API. We can't make change in it. So it's we get the all data which are inside this, not the updated data. So simply delete is not performing work on this, but we will write a code for delete and we'll try. If we have our own server, then it will definitely work, don't worry. So for delete purpose, also I sending here item.id, because based on id we will delete that particular record. So let me pass this, and delete is exactly same like we can say like git method, uh, like this. Let me control C this one for it, and here control V. The method for that will be delete and post slash that particular ID. So the ID should be sending here delete ID, which I'm sending to the handle delete function you saw just before. So it will get what? It will show us the deleted result in the response, but I think so the delete API is not working in this uh, type, in this API JSON placeholder.type echo.post to X server. So deleted record. I wanna deleted record in response, but I don't think so it will give me because I tried it, it wasn't working there. So if we are using your own server, that might be Node.js or some other, so you can do it. Mean it will work. It will work in your case. So let's try this here as well. When I click on delete, mm, oh, deleted record. It means something happened. It's work, I think. Mm, yeah, delete for form, and that particular record has been deleted. Type ID1 delete status code. But we got nothing. It means that particular record deleted. Let me check only response. When I click on delete, yeah, delete API get called, so it gave us empty because that particular record is no longer available. It's mean it's get deleted. It's a fake server, so there is no message which show us that particular record get deleted and our state get updated. So that record present there because the data we are getting are all those data which are present inside the Bake API. So that's all about CRUD operation in React.js. If you have still any question regarding this, you can comment. So I'll try to answer you in the best way. So hope you got this. We'll meet in the next lecture. Till then, Allah Hafiz.